Doctor.
Now, just be easy now. Take your time. Let's not worry too quickly.
My husband.
Yes?
My husband's in love.
Of course.
With a mermaid.
I beg your pardon?
Mermaid. M-E-R...
I can spell, thank you.
Mermaid, eh?
A blonde, I believe.
And when you say mermaid, you mean, I take it, a sort of fish?
Only half. The other half, I understand, is quite human.
Oh, yes, of course.
He caught her off the island of St. Hilda's in the British West Indies shortly after we arrived there in November. And since then, a whole woman I could understand, I suppose, but...
Did you ever see this creature yourself?
Only her tail.
You saw her tail?
In the bathtub once.
The mermaid was taking a bath.
A bubble bath.
If you'll pardon me, Mrs. Peabody, which of you is the subject of this consultation? Your husband or yourself?
Why, Mr. Peabody, of course.
Oh, yes, of course. I just wanted to make sure, that's all. Which one is he?
Directly opposite. The tall, gloomy one.
What's the matter with him, Mommy? Is he crazy?
Shh, darling.
How did he say he got mixed up with this thing?
He caught her in the bay.
Oh, really? Casting or trolling?
Trolling, he says. With light tackle.
How light?
A 12-thread line.
What did she weigh?
Well, I'm sorry I never weighed her.
Well, if she ran over 100 pounds, that sounds like very good fishing to me.
May I?
The one in the blue Chevy. Did she give him much of a fight?
Neither then nor since, apparently.
But look at his eyes. I bet he is crazy.
Madam, unless that child is a qualified psychiatrist, I'll thank him to keep his opinions to himself.
Mr. Peabody?
Darling, this is Dr. Harvey.
How do you do?
How do you do? Oh, how do you do?
Well,
Well, what does he want to do? Operate?
Oh, he just wants to talk to you, dear. About Lee.
Her name was Lenore.
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 Well, I'll wait outside.
Oh, not out there. That's a human zoo. You know, I think it'd be better if you went back to the hotel and waited.
All right. Goodbye, Doctor. And thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, dear.
Goodbye.
Will you sit down?
Thank you. Well, now, let's get this straight at once, Doctor. I'm quite willing to tell you everything that happened, because Mrs. Peabody wishes me to. But I'm not a loony, and I'm not interested in any opinion you may form on that subject.
I understand.
If you want to hear the story on that condition, very well. If not...
Is that right? You caught her on a 12-thread line?
You fish?
Some.
Well, to tell the truth, I didn't actually hook her. I snagged her in the tail.
Did it hurt her?
No, thank heaven. I don't think she even felt it. Never gave any sign of it, anyway.
And her name was Lenore.
Was to me.
Would you care to tell me about it?
Well, we're Bostonians, as Mrs. Peabody probably told you. Born, bred, and married there. Well, last fall, I had rather a bad case of flu. Kept me in bed for nearly a month. Even then, I was still weak and shaky. And that's why we decided, both of us, to put in the whole winter as a holiday for me to convalesce. So we turned our youngster, Priscilla, over to her grandmother, and we went to St. Hilda's. That's a small British island in the Caribbean. Very tropical, very beautiful, and no tourists yet. The house we rented on the beach, the Villa Marina, was more than we could afford, really. But it was all so wonderful. Like heaven to both of us. And if you can find a little piece of heaven, Who cares what it costs? Well, that's where it all began. Very first morning we were there. Polly. This is it, isn't it?
Wonderful.
You ever see anything that reminded you less of Boston? Gee, just look at that blue.
Aren't you cold?
Huh? No, I feel great. Say, wouldn't Priscilla have loved this, though? Yeah, I'm sorry now we didn't bring her along.
I'll get your robe.
No, I don't need it, really.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning, Basil, is it?
Yes, sir.
You, have many mornings like this?
Lots of them, sir. Good morning, madam.
Morning, Basil. This air's damp and you've been sick.
Hey, look! Is that a flamingo?
A man doesn't get his strength back so quickly at your age, remember?
Watch him go. My age.
At 50, I mean, it takes a little longer to recover.
And who, if I may ask, is 50?
You, if I may answer.
Yeah. As it happens, I'm 48, if you really want to be accurate about it.
Or, if you really want to be accurate about it, you're 49. Until next Thursday, anyway.
No.
Yes.
Sure?
Positive. Why does it hurt, darling?
Huh? Oh, no, of course not. I'm just a little surprised, that's all. I just wasn't expecting it. This year.
Sneaked up on you, huh?
Hmm? Well, you're taking it very bravely, I see.
You bet. A wife doesn't really begin to feel safe, you know, until her husband turns that 50 corner.
It, feeding the fish?
Yes, sir.
Basil, how old are you?
32, sir.
How disgusting. The old age of youth. The youth of old age.
You all right, sir?
No. But I don't know that there's anything that anybody but God can do about it.
No, sir.
Who was that?
Who is what, sir?
That's singing.
I didn't hear it, sir.
Well, somebody... Listen. There it is again. You heard it then, didn't you?
No, sir.
woman singing. Hey, could it have come from that little island out there?
No, sir. That's not an island. Not rightly. It's a key. Kiora.
Couldn't somebody swim out there?
No, sir. That's black water out there, full of sharks and barracudas.
But by George, I see somebody out there now. Look.
Couldn't be, sir.
Yeah. It seems to be gone now, but I saw it all right. And what's more, it looked to me like a girl. The still, sweet fall of music far away. At the Cabana Club's beach party that Saturday night, I looked about for someone who might be able to shed a little light on this marine concert.
Good evening, sir.
Evening. A little rum Collins, please.
Yes, sir.
Will you join me, sir? I say, will you join me in a drink, sir?
Are you an American?
Why, yes.
Then listen. About a week ago, I had a very severe headache. So my girlfriend makes me go to this doctor. So, all right. Well, the first thing he does, he takes my blood pressure. It's too low. Then he plugs me in on a basal metabolism. It's too high. Then he checks my heart. It's too weak. When he x-rays me, I'm out of focus. When I'm fluoroscoped, the liver has disappeared. So what do you think he says?
What?
Give up cigarettes. I'll have a beer.
Yes, sir.
Well, what did he say was the matter with you?
He don't know. He's baffled. All he knows is give up cigarettes.
For how long?
Just till I go crazy.
Is he a first-rate man?
He's a quack, a notorious quack. Other people wouldn't even send their dog to him.
Well, then why do you go to him?
He's my girlfriend's brother. Happy days.
But I must warn you, my dear, that Major Hadley is responsible for more gray hairs among the married men than any other bachelor in St. Hilda's.
I'm so unscrupulous.
An Englishman and not a gentleman?
Oh, good heavens, no.
I must remember that.
Not that it'll do you any good. He's completely taken now, body and soul. Aren't you, dear?
Well, just on approval.
By whom? By Kathy Livingston.
Kathy Livingston.
Yeah, she could swim out to that key. She's a great swimmer. Why, you want to swim with her?
Me? Good heavens, no. With a good stiff tailwind, I might do 20 or 30 feet, but not much more. Is she here tonight, you think? Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
I think it'll be all right if we go out here with a Wind will blow it away.
It's not necessary at all.
She's out there now, slapping away at all that wet stuff.
You seen it?
No, but that's what she's always doing at these seaside sociables, swimming or singing.
She sings, too?
Start a downbeat. She's out of musical comedy, you know. You married?
Yes, but...
And then you wouldn't be interested in...
Huh? Oh, well, not right now, I'm afraid. Look, would you be willing to introduce me to this Miss Livingston? It just happens.
You don't have to explain it. That's my business. Goodwill and public relations. See, I'm the press agent for this jungle paradise.
Oh, well, I'd appreciate it very much.
Just as soon as she comes out.
Happens that I've had something of an experience. It's a rather curious thing. As a matter of fact,
Been married some time, I see. Huh?
Oh, yes, nearly 15 years. Who is she, you know?
Not from Miss Angle.
Rather a neat little number, though. Not that I pay a good deal of attention to that sort of thing anymore.
Well, if we're going to start lying to each other... Here comes Miss Barracuda now. Come on.
Hey, you know that girl?
Yeah?
That's not a girl, it's my wife.
No kid.
Holy smokes, I never saw her in a suit like that before in my life.
How are you, Fitz, darling?
Miss Livingston, Mr. Peabody.
How do you do, Miss Livingston?
How are you?
Mr. Peabody's an American freak. He's just been leering at his own wife.
How charming. You must be a dream of a husband.
I am, but who's that with her?
Who's got a cigarette?
Oh, here you are.
Thanks. That's Major Ronald Hadley. He's on the Governor General's staff.
Well, shall we join them?
Do you wish to very much?
My word, what a gruesome-looking fellow.
That's my husband.
Yes, I know.
But, you do sing, don't you?
Yes, but I can't sing without accompaniment.
Listen. Do you know that?
The Caribbees, where nothing goes by but clouds in the sky above. The tiny keys, the rolling seas, their soft serenade just seems to be made for love. I dream how heavenly the nights could be with you, with me, within your arms.
How old is he really?
46.
Lazy skies, the full moon's rise from under a net of sleepy palmetto trees. This dream come true needs only you and the islands they call the Caribbean.
The circumstances were entirely different. Polly had made a public spectacle of herself. And in that suit, holy Moses, I was simply making a few serious inquiries into a matter. It was gone. I gave up. As a matter of fact, Polly was never wronger in her life. I don't go for those all-round women like Kathy Livingston. They make me nervous. What I like is a woman who can't do anything very much. You take one of those Esquire magazine Englishmen with that little mustache and that accent. It's murder what they do to married women. Polly's got a darn good head on her shoulders. But along comes one of those old school Thai boys and... Not that I haven't got complete faith in Polly. About that, hook to the tail. Holy jumping Moses. easy, miss, will you? Where's Mrs. Peabody?
Madam's gone to town, sir. She'll be right back, though.
Oh.
Don't generally take fish upstairs, sir.
Just take it easy, my dear. There we are. Yeah. Nobody's going to hurt you. Nobody's going... Oh. Yes. Now, here we go. There we go. That's it. Now, you just trust your Uncle Arthur, and everything will be all right. Just a moment. Now. Oh, yes. All right, now, just open your mouth. Come on, now, it'll do you good. You just open up. Okay. Yeah. Come on, now, that's a good girl. It's just what we call aromatic.
Mr. Peabody back yet?
Yes, madam. He's waiting for you in the living room.
Oh. Well, I'm going to take a bath first, if he asks. What's the matter? Is something wrong?
No, madam. There's nothing wrong.
Oh. What ails you, you silly animal? Who's that? Arthur?
Polly.
Would you mind telling me who that woman is in my bathroom?
Woman? Oh, that's no woman.
Well, he must be a pretty fancy fellow. The place reeks of my best forbidden madness.
Oh, but that's impossible.
Why is it?
Because a piscatorial phenomenon simply wouldn't use forbidden madness, that's why.
Are you tight?
Not at all. I have had rather an odd experience.
You must be. Who is that up there?
My dear, that happens to be nothing less than a mermaid. An authentic, flesh and blood mermaid.
Have you got that Livingston woman up there taking a bath in my tub?
Oh, of course not. Why should I give Kathy Livingston a bath?
You better come upstairs with me for a moment.
Oh, but you better listen first.
Let's go up first. We may have more to talk about then.
Polly. 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 Now, Polly, this is a situation that calls for a couple of words of explanation, believe me.
Now, Will you speak to your friend, or shall I?
It's no use. She can't talk.
No? Hello? Will you come out, or shall I come in?
She can't walk either.
Drunk?
Oh, no legs.
I'm coming in.
Tally-ho.
You're not tight.
I told you.
You're plastered.
As a matter of fact, I'm not. But I'm going to be, I can promise you that.
Just get that fish out of my tub. And get it out at once.
Son of a gun. How do you like that? Oh, all right, honey. Party's over. Now. Upsy daisy.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid we won't be able to make it for dinner tonight. Something just came up, and I don't think Arthur's going to feel like it. Lunch? When?
What's the matter with tomorrow? Just you and I.
You mean alone? Just a minute. Arthur?
May I have your further wishes in the matter?
Just get rid of it, that's all. Give it to the cook. Maybe she can get a steak out of it for dinner.
I'm not exactly cannibal, you know.
Oh, Arthur, stop that. Just get rid of it. Throw it back in the ocean. What time?
Oh, I'm sorry, my dear, but I don't know what else to do. I hate to give you up, but well, you saw how it was. And if you don't mind my saying so, my pet, you're no guppy either. So, with your kind permission. Dear friends, the fish in this aquarium are rare and valuable. Enjoy them to your heart's content, but do not, please, feed or annoy them. The decision made at this point was, I see now, a mistake. The truth is that no decision involving mermaids should ever be made with even a suggestion of alcohol under the belt. You don't want to go back in that ocean, do you? It's so big. And you're so pretty. What's your name? It must be something lovely. Like Lenore. Lenore. That's what we call a kiss. It's a nice idea. What do you think? And so simple. You know, all you have to do actually is it's a symbol. It's a way of saying, I think you're very pretty. And I like you very much. You understand it all? No? Well, you just wait, Lenore. It may take a little time, but sooner or later, you'll get the idea. Hold
morning, sir.
Good morning. I'd like to look at some sweaters, please.
Certainly, sir. About what size?
Oh, small.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14,
Oh,
16.
6, I imagine.
Long sleeves or short?
Short.
Slip-on or cardigan?
Slip-on.
Turtleneck or crew?
Crew.
Thank you. Here we are.
Oh, but that's a child's, isn't it?
You said 6, I believe, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't quite understand. It's for an adult, but a rather small adult.
32, 34, 36, 38.
Oh, well,
40.
let's try 32.
Quite. Here we are. Yes, light as a whisper, gay as a sunbeam. Wearing it will be an emotional adventure spangled with the moonglow of twilight.
Really?
It also comes in a gay spectrum of springtime hues. Pistachio, purple almond, banana, marshmallow, peach dream, and licorice.
Licorice?
It's sort of a light black.
Would you be good enough to tell me something?
Enchanted.
Whatever became of blue?
Would you care for it or not?
Oh. Yes, I suppose so. There's something, well, there's just one other thing.
Yes?
Can you swim in it? Yeah, I know it's rather an odd question, but in this case, it's necessary, I'm afraid.
One could, I fancy, if one had no objection to shrinking.
Oh, yes, of course.
May I ask, is the young lady's prejudice against swimming in a swimming suit quite deep-seated?
No, not at all. That's an excellent idea. I'll have half a bathing suit.
Half a bathing suit?
That's it, the top half of a two-piece suit.
Oh, well, I'm very sorry, sir, but I'm afraid we're not permitted to split our suits.
Oh, I'd pay for the whole thing. I mean that I'd have no need. Rather, she'd have no need. I mean that. Well, you could keep the rest of it.
Oh, I see.
Oh, hello.
Did I hear right? Half a bathing suit?
If you'll pardon me.
Well, as a matter of fact...
No, don't tell me. I don't want to hear. I think I'd rather just wonder about it.
Well, it's quite simple. I mean, the truth is...
I see. I'm beginning to suspect there are hidden depths in you, Mr. Peabody.
Huh? Oh, no, nothing like that. I mean, look, the simple fact is...
I know. You're shopping for that fish.
Who told you?
Several people.
Voila. The halter neck. Toast to fashionable Hollywood society. The diaper model. Not unprovocative, n'est-ce pas? The handkerchief ensemble. Blithe as the breeze. Vital as youth. Pretty as a picture. Cool as a cucumber. Slick as a whistle. Smart as a tack.
Darling, I don't want to offend you, but, you know, you're really not dressed for company, and we're bound to have some sooner or later. Now, these little articles are for what we call modesty. Now, modesty means, well, if you haven't got it, some people are shocked, some are embarrassed, and some, I regret to say, are quite pleased. Now, you see, in your case, well, you get the idea, don't you? Oh, no, this. You see? The idea is that... Now, darling, please. No, not yet. Look, I've got to get you straightened out on one or two other points first. For instance, you've got to stop eating the fish in the pond. Do you realize that that's about $1,000 worth of rare fish you've put away today? Look, if you like fish so much, why don't you dig into some of that? Oh, no, darling. Look, I didn't mean to hurt you. Really, I didn't. No. You do love me, don't you? Oh, no, wait, please. Take it easy, dear. You don't want to break my neck, do you? No, of course not. So you've got to learn the difference between a hug and a strangle. You understand? All right now, but easy this time. Now, isn't that nicer? My age means nothing to you, does it? You don't think that 50 is so conclusive, do you? No, of course not. Why should you? What's so dreadful, really, about a few gray hairs? Or suppose a man doesn't care to make a public spectacle of himself by running upstairs. Is that such an accomplishment, running upstairs like a fool? Or suppose he does get a little sleepy in nightclubs. The truth of the matter is that a man at 50 is at the very peak of his faculties. Like any doctor will tell you that. You know, at 50? Oh, no, don't go, darling. Don't go, not yet. Because at 50, a man has developed understanding, sympathy, tenderness. As no younger man could. He appreciates beauty like yours. For in your eyes, there's a beauty richer than any human eye could hold. The beauty of eternal wisdom. And it's the beauty of a child, too. Simple, direct, uncomplicated, like your love for me. Such a love, what man could be anything but younger?
Wait. No. I'll come back some other time. When you're all right.
Aren't you glad I'm here?
Oh, you can bet your life.
They're talking about us, you know.
Who?
They? Does that bother you?
Oh, no. Oh, on the contrary, I'm flattered.
Although I must say you don't give them much to go on.
Very sly fellow. Not sure that you'll be able to see anything this late. She's not much on late hours. The minute the sun goes down, she...
It doesn't matter. I've seen fish before. Right now, it's you I'm interested in. Come on, what are you trying to get away with, really?
I don't know.
Oh, come now. Who is she? Is she pretty?
Oh, very.
Oh. Pretty as me? A mystery is good for a man. It makes him doubly attractive. It makes a woman want to find out more. Did you see it? Polly, darling, I didn't know you were home.
Aren't you going to bring out your little friend for Mrs. Livingston?
Oh, Miss Livingston, darling.
Oh, yes, of course. So sorry. They all seem to be hiding. I don't even see any of the little goldfish.
You're not having a bit of fun with me, are you?
I'm not, at any rate.
Well, I'm quite an angler myself, you know. and I'd like very much to see it. Arthur, be an angel and get me that drink.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, so long as it's not a barracuda. Miss Livingston! Miss Livingston! That woman's either drunk or crazy. She's in the pond. Go upstairs and get her a towel and a robe. Nice people you pick up. Oh, you stay here.
Huh? But what happened?
Bring that drink. Something seems to have chased her for a change.
It was like a hideous nightmare. Something with arms, like an octopus pulling me down and down.
No. You're all right now.
And then it bit me
Bit you?
in the leg.
Why, it looks like a human bite.
Well, are you sure you didn't bite yourself?
Well, I'll go now. I'm terribly sorry about all this. So stupid of me. I'll get my dress.
May I,
No, thank you. I'll slip into it out there. I'll be back in a minute. Just a peach, isn't she?
Well, what does it matter? At my age.
Did you bring it in? No, it was on the rattan chair where you threw it. Well, it's not there now. I've looked all over.
Oh, it must be. Couldn't have walked away.
Could you have knocked it on the pond when you climbed out?
No, I got out at the other end.
It's not here.
That's funny. Well, don't bother about it anymore. I've been too much of a nuisance as it is. If you don't need this rope tonight, it'll do to drive home in. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Now, if you'll be good enough to listen for a moment. Shut up! Come down here and kick your teeth in. If I believed for a minute that a man's best friend is his dog, I'd cut my throat without further delay.
Arthur.
Huh?
Sit here, dear. If
if that woman really matters to you,
Listen, Polly.
I could understand a little flirtation with her. I know that men, well, go a little peculiar at 50. But when I saw that look of horror on your face tonight, over that little bite, I was shocked. For the first time, I realized how deeply you must feel.
Polly, will you listen a minute? I've seen the woman 3 times in my life. At the beach party the other night, on the street this afternoon, and tonight. Now, is it your understanding that that constitutes a historic love affair?
But that look...
Polly, that look would have been the same if it had been anybody else. Lady Potts, Lord Potts, King Potts, Major Ronald Hadley himself. As a reasonably humane host, I probably always shall be more or less disturbed by the spectacle of a guest being chewed up underwater.
So that's it.
What?
Ronald Hadley.
I picked the name out of the air.
There's been some gossip, I suppose.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've had lunch with him a couple of times.
Well, is there any reason why you shouldn't have?
No, but... I think I see it all now.
Well, if you see me tangled up with Kathy Livingston, I wish you'd be good enough to take another look.
Perhaps we've both been a bit to blame.
I'm not.
Perhaps we've both forgotten ourselves for a moment.
Not me.
So now there's only one thing left for us to do. Pull ourselves together and remember who and what we are.
There's nothing for me to pull together because I've never been apart.
Arthur, if I promise never to see or speak to Ronald Hadley again, will you give up this woman?
Give her up? Polly, how can you give up a woman that you've only said hello to?
Please, Arthur, this is serious. Won't you?
Polly, I told you...
I'll never so much as look at him again. If he speaks, I won't answer. If he comes in the room, I'll leave. If only you'll do as much for me.
All right.
Will you really, darling?
Yes, I will.
Do you think you'll be able to?
I believe so. I can only try, of course, but with your strength and faith and help, I believe I can.
Oh, darling, darling.
Darling, you shouldn't. 4 o'clock in the morning is no hour for singing. People will think you're drunk, or that I am. Oh, you look beautiful. Perfectly beautiful. You know, it's much more becoming on you than it was on Kathy Livingston. Now, wait. I've had just about as much of that as I can stand in one night. So don't you start. As a matter of fact, I don't know when I've ever gotten so sick of a woman so quickly. All I want now is just a little peace and quiet. There's only one way out of it that I can see. Polly's got to meet you. Polly, darling, this is Lenore, the young mermaid I was telling you about, remember? She lives in a little castle at the bottom of the fish pond. Quite pleasant, she says, but a trifle damp. Like California, I imagine. What's the matter, darling? Oh. No, stop it, Lee. Stop it. I want you to beat that. The sins that you do by two and two, you must pay for one and one. Polly, let me in. Polly, come on now, let me in and let's get this thing straightened out. You hear me? Polly. Oh, come on now. Just give me 1 minute. Rather, give me 10 minutes and I can explain the whole business. Alcoholics Anonymous, here I come. Now, Polly. Polly, where do you think you're going?
Will you be good enough to stand aside, please?
Polly, don't be ridiculous. If you'll listen to me for 15 minutes.
Did you hear me ask you to stand away from that door?
Polly, be reasonable. Where will you go at this hour of the night? Now, come on back upstairs.
Don't you dare touch me, you barefaced liar.
What do you mean? What have I lied to you about?
Not 1 hour after swearing, in my arms, knowing all the time she was down there waiting for you.
Holy Moses. Are you on that? Found it, Flip. Polly! Now, Polly. Polly, now, wait a minute. Polly! You're simply making a molehill out of nothing. That wasn't Kathy Livingston out there.
No, then who, pray, was it?
It was... nobody. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. It wasn't a woman at all. Now, Polly, now wait. That was the mermaid.
That fish.
Well, partly fish, yes.
Oh, a fish wearing a gold lame evening dress.
Ah!
I know it sounds peculiar, but that's precisely what it was. That fish, as you call her, pinched Kathy's dress, and she was trying it on, like a kid. It was the first time in her life she had ever had clothes on. And we were just sitting there talking about this, and I was telling her that,
Go on.
Well, I know it sounds peculiar.
And what was Miss Mermaid wearing when you left her?
What was she wearing? Oh. Now, wait. Kathy! Polly, I mean. Polly!
Now, you're a friend of Peabody's, aren't you?
Somewhat. How's that?
Somewhat. It's an American vulgarism, meaning yes.
Can't he speak English?
Quite.
That's it. Much better.
Well, the car's been identified as Mrs. Peabody's. All very well and good. Except it now turns out that nobody's seen Mrs. Peabody for at least a week.
Half a fortnight, egad.
You know, on second thought, old man, I think I find you even more revolting as an Englishman than I do as an American. So would you be good enough to revert to your more normal loathsomeness?
Well,
To resume.
You only do that because you know it hurts me.
Peabody himself is still at the villa.
Fellow won't answer his telephone.
If I'd gone to Oxford, you wouldn't do it.
Won't answer the telephone, won't answer the door. No deliveries and no sign whatever of Mrs. Peabody anywhere.
If I were the Queen, you'd swallow that thing, fire and all.
She's not staying at either of the hotels, nor has she left the island by boat or plane.
Why should the fella have a telephone if he's not going to answer it?
In other words, it's all very peculiar, even for an American couple. And while there may be a perfectly simple explanation for the whole affair, I, for one, shouldn't be at all surprised if the wretched woman were dead somewhere. Murdered, of course, by that odious husband of hers.
He wouldn't like you either.
So His Excellency suggests that you make an unofficial call first on the blighter and see what you can find out before we turn the case over to the police.
Who, me?
Yes, you. Right away.
Very well. But don't be surprised if this leads to another Bunker Hill.
Might as well rip the ruddy thing out if he isn't going to answer it.
The servants had all departed even before Polly. But after the first shock and distress, I must say the situation was not without its pleasanter aspects. There's much to be said for a woman, even an imperfect one, who lives, breathes, and exists only for the man she loves.
Don't seem to have as many goldfish as you used to.
How did you get in here?
Over the wall. I used to be a cat burglar.
Oh. Well, will you join me in a cup of coffee?
No, thanks.
Anything else? Highball?
Highball? Huh. You know that quack I told you about?
Yeah?
I went back to it.
Well, was that a little silly after your last experience?
No, I guess so, but you ought to see that jerk's sister.
So what happened this time?
Well, so this time he figures maybe I'm allergic.
To what?
He don't know, naturally. He's got to find out. Being a very thorough fellow, he begins at the top of the list with the A's. So at $5 a copy, he's already inoculated me for alfalfa, alligators, aspirin, Arabs, apes, angleworms, anteaters, asparagus, salted almonds, and guess what?
What?
Alcohol.
Well, what can I do for you?
Well, they're whispering behind fans these evenings that you're in something of a jam.
Won't you have a banana?
Oh, thanks. In fact, I hear there's already a movement afoot to hang you.
May I have the cream, please?
Sorry.
Any particular reason?
Just murder. Bluebeard stuff. Over a sea cow, one hears.
Sea cow?
That's the rumor around Faye's beauty shop. Some kind of a hobgoblin. Oh, what the?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
What was it?
It was that creature I caught. Oh, you can't see her. She hides. She's rather timid.
Timid? Gee, this stuff hit me like a blowtorch.
If I may ask, who told you about all this?
It was in the paper, Miami paper. In Miami, they have gossip columns about fish.
A charter boat captain out of St. Hilda's reports a Bostonian named Peabody claims to have hooked a manatee that looks enough like a human to be one. Boy, what that square-faced rum will do to a man.
Where is Mrs. Peabody?
None of your business, of course.
Well, it's the cops' idea.
Cops?
They found her station wagon on the side of the shore road this morning. And if she's not here to receive them in person this afternoon, they're liable to start digging up your cellar.
This is ridiculous.
All right, then, give them a ridiculous answer.
I never heard of anything so outrageous.
Is she here?
No. But...
Look, Arthur, whatever it is, it's okay with me. I mean, if it's another dame you're mixed up with, just try and remember you're talking to a man who's been shoved through the meat grinder backward. And you'll find this a very sympathetic organ.
Well, it's not another woman. Exactly.
All right, a misunderstanding. Where lives a man who hasn't been misunderstood by a woman?
Wonder if I could trust you.
My dear boy, is this a time for character study? We're two Americans surrounded by the redcoats. What choice have you?
Well, she's not here. I don't know where she is. She left the house last night a week ago, after a discussion involving my mermaid.
Now we're getting some... Involving your what?
I've caught a mermaid. A charming, sweet, lovely little mermaid.
You mean with a tail?
I suppose I should have followed Polly, or at least gone after her the next day. But what could I say? She was right. I did love someone else. Not the girl she thought, not her at all. But this enchanting young creature, I did and do love. Perhaps I'd better tell you how it happened.
Very unusual story, I'll say that for it.
Now, of course, I can't give her up. Because even in this short time, she's come to mean so much to me that, well, it's not an easy thing to explain.
That I can see.
You wouldn't understand.
No, I guess not. But brother, what a story.
What do you mean, story?
When the Mrs. Sues.
Oh, but that's ridiculous. Polly wouldn't dream of doing such a thing.
I can already see the head. Wife names fish.
You're not going to tell them, are you?
What else?
But I told you that in confidence. I thought you understood that.
Isn't it dreadful? You know, when I was addicted to alcohol and tobacco, I guess I was just about one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. But ever since I've been taken off the stuff, I'm just plain low-down mean. A heel from Heel Town. And worse than that, I just don't seem to care.
Well, of all the... What? Will the police really come?
Oh, sure. What else have they got to do?
And... Lenore?
Claim her for the crown, I imagine. Ship her to London. Stick her in a zoo and charge admission. Ought to do plenty of business with a good, healthy mermaid.
They'll never get her, never.
Unless, of course, you can dig up your wife. Just a figure of speech, you understand. No offense intended.
Darling, get ready, honey. We've got to get out of here right away. Pure, utter rot.
Yes, master.
Heard of mermaids, of course. Can't remember ever having seen one, though.
No sign whatever of Mrs. Peabody?
No, Master.
Colonel, this is a matter now for the police. Get your men down there at once and go through the whole place from cellar to roof.
I'll take the flying squad. If I can find the blighters.
Drag the pond and scour every inch of the grounds.
Better throw a cordon around the block, too.
How's that?
Don't pay any attention to him. Get going. If there's murder here, I want to know about it.
Very good.
Charlie.
Yes, sir.
While under the influence of homogenized milk, I've just done a very, very shameful thing.
I was afraid of that, sir.
I ratted on a fellow creature.
You didn't, sir.
I did. And we don't want that to happen again, do we?
No, indeed, sir.
No. So, can you mix a triple martini?
I believe so, sir. In a beer glass.
All right, bring me 5 of them.
5?
6.
Yes, sir.
Lovely day.
Beautiful.
Can't remember when I've seen exactly that particular purple light on the sea.
Please, darling, please, come on, will you? They're coming for us, don't you understand? I mean, you don't want to be stuck in a zoo in London? I'm not playing, believe me. This is no time for play. I'm very serious. I'm not angry. I'm hurt. Very deeply hurt. Obviously, you don't trust me. Though what I have done to deserve this, I don't know, I'm sure. I thought I had done everything possible to convince you that whatever I did was ultimately for your own good. But apparently, you...
John Quills.
Oh, my darling.
Won't answer his phone either.
No, darling, don't cry. I won't let you go. I won't leave you. Never in the world. Never while I'm alive.
Shall we break it down, sir?
Certainly not. This is a man's home. We'll simply have to return for further instructions.
I'm all right now. Just not used submarine life. Not my element, water, I'm afraid. Darling, if...
What's that?
Bunch of silly rocks, isn't it?
That's Kiora, sir.
Kiora. What have I heard about that place? Come around it.
Could be worse, I suppose. Not much. Wonderful, darling. Exactly what we needed. Nothing like keeping a cool head about you when packing.
What's all that muck?
Picnic.
All right, drop it.
The man asked.
Is there any island around here he could have got to? Well, unless he went overboard, he's bound to be somewhere around. All right, put it back.
Pardon, sir?
The bottle is evidence. Put it back.
Well, who's got anybody?
As soon as it's dark, I'm going to take the boat around the Cape to that fishing village. I'm going to write a letter to a man I know who lives down in the Florida Keys, as far away from any other human beings as he could get. I'm going to pay one of the fishermen to mail it for me. If that man will send me a map and a compass, I'm positive we can make his place in a few days. And then we'll find us a place down there. There are hundreds of little islands in the Keys where I could build a shack on the Gulf. And then just think, away from the world completely. No radio, no newspapers, no silly news from Washington, no politics, no rent trouble, no food shortages. Nothing but peace, quiet, sunshine. We'll...
Mr. Peabody?
Lee, please.
Are you there, sir?
Yes?
Will you come up, sir? Or shall we come down?
I'll come up.
Your wife's back in Boston with a kid.
Yeah, I imagine she would be.
One of those daffy army guys flew her back in a bomber.
She's a wonder, all right.
And the, you don't feel so good.
Do you hear anything odd?
Like what?
I hear it, by Jove.
Yes, like some kind of singing.
Of course. It's like something I heard off Capri once. A good 20 years ago. It's exactly the same sort of singing, by George.
Lenore. Lee! Where are you, Lee?
Easy, pal.
Peabody! Cut it quick and come around.
Please, Lee!
Lee! We're coming, Arthur! Stick with it, boy!
Lee! Where are you, Lee?
I hear it. Lee!
Where are you, Arthur?
And Mrs. Peabody questions this story? Don't you?
What about you, Miss Martin?
Well, I'm afraid I didn't altogether follow it, Doctor.
Who else have you told it to?
Just Mrs. Peabody.
Well, let me make a suggestion. Don't tell it again to anybody who hasn't hit that air pocket.
What air pocket?
The 50th birthday, of course. Oh, it's all right to talk about it to an old Purple Heart like me, but you're wasting your time trying to explain it to children like Mrs. Peabody and Miss Martin. Just wait. Let them find it out for themselves. Fitzgerald pulled you out, I take it?
Yes.
How long were you in the hospital?
3 days. I was pretty done in.
You can go, Miss Martin.
Yes, sir.
In the first place, try to remember this. You're not the first man, nor will you be the last to have a tough time rounding 50. It happens to everybody, male and female. Why, it took me 5 years to make it. I was 49 for so long, I don't know to this day how old I am.
Really?
Sit down. As a matter of fact, your case was a breeze compared to what I went through. My trouble, you see, was an ice skater. The most radiant, beautiful, bewitching little creature you could imagine. And the amazing part of it was, she could also skate through the air. Right through my window. And into my room. Well, sir. One night.
He explained the whole thing, quite simply and clearly. What hallucinations are, and what a shock like nearly drowning can do to a man of, well, 50.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, what's 50 got to do with it? He's crazy.
Oh, yeah, crazy's a coot. You should have heard the nutty story he told me about himself. All about some beautiful ice skater that came sailing through the air.
And what's nutty about that?
I'm sorry, darling.
It's all right, dear.
I gave you a pretty bad time of it, I guess. But it's all over now.
Lenore, too?
After trying to drown me.
It's a fine thing. A mermaid for a rival.
Pretty silly at that, wasn't it?
Well, at least I hope the next time you feel yourself slipping, it'll be for someone real. Something flesh and blood. People can see and tell me about. What's that?
A little present?
Oh, how sweet of you, Arthur. Darling, it's beautiful. It's so different. You didn't have to, dear, really.
I know. I wanted to.
Let's see. Shall I wear it out tonight?
If you want to go out.
Don't you?
Well, I don't know. Seems somehow such a pleasant occasion. I thought it might be nice if we just had dinner up here and spent the rest of the evening in. Together.
Oh, darling, a very nice idea. Very nice.